Hey yo guys, what's up and welcome back to Two Toe Tags Metal Reviews, and today you're getting our final review of World War X from Carnifex. Alright, so we just spent the entire week listening to this album non-stop, listened to it tons of times, and I gotta say that I really had a good time listening to this album. But when I was trying to figure out my score, I was a little conflicted, having some tough times with certain things. I'm not exactly sure why, so I'm going to try to explain my thoughts and feelings towards it. For the most part, great. Liked every song. What ended up happening with me throughout the week, though, is that I found myself really gravitating towards the first half of the album and really not... I mean, I enjoyed the second half, but I was really having more of a hard time getting into the second half and really just digging into it and finding stuff that I really loved about it. Until, like, yesterday and today, like the very end of the week, where I started trying my hardest to focus on the second half to really find those bits and pieces that I really liked, and I did find them, so I was very relieved. So I've actually come to notice that there's actually something very nice and very special and very unique and very drawing in every song on this album for me. I'll give you a few examples. So let's start with, maybe I'll start from the top. So the first two tracks are my favorite tracks on the album. Okay, World War X and Visions of the End. I think these are just badass songs from front to end overall. They evoke this sense of evil, this friggin', like, I mentioned in our first impressions, it sounds like they're raising demons, and I just get that feeling, that's the atmosphere I get, and I love it. They got cool grooves, the bounce to them is really awesome, breakdowns are awesome, musicianship is amazing all around, love it. Then you go into a few other songs. Eyes of the Executioner, love the solo in that song, fantastic. No Light Shall Save Us, great single. We talked about Alyssa, blah blah blah. I don't want to go into too much of that because we talked about it a lot in the first video. But the second half of the album, All Roads Lead to Hell, this is the one with the guest guitarist on it. The breakdown in this song is unbelievable. The solo in this song is unbelievable. Fantastic, fantastic work. I'm glad they got a guest guitarist on there. Not that it probably would have made a huge difference if they had their own guy doing it, but it just added an extra bit of flavor to it.
Yeah.
Right? So that was cool. Brushed by the Wings of Demons, again, awesome solo. I wasn't expecting great solos on this album. I wasn't expecting great solos. Yeah, solos here and there, but I wasn't expecting to be like, woo, ho ho, I'll listen to that again and rewind it, and I did that. So again, great solos. Hail Hellfire. Hail Hellfire is a sick song. Probably the best riff on the album. The main riff of that song, fantastic. The riff progression in that song, fantastic. Love it. And then that's also the song with that weird siren guitar solo.
Yeah.
Right? Which was also, we talked about that in our first impressions as well. That was also awesome.
And just think about how unique that is. Have you ever really heard something like that anywhere else done that way?
Not that way. I mean, I've heard siren noises before, obviously, in music, but
like the way he does it with the guitar, it just catches you off guard and you're thinking, what is this?
Yeah, but it's rad and it fits very well, and it sounds like it should be out of place, but it's not. So it's very, very well done. And then the last song, by Shadows Die in Hell, my favorite part of that song is the pinch harmonics. There's pinch harmonics during the riffs, and I'm a sucker for pinch harmonics. I love that shit. They do it in that song. I also can't remember which song it was, but one of the solos that I mentioned, it might be the one from Eyes of the Executioner, but the end of the solo ends in some squeals, and I fucking love that too. But as you can see, there's a lot of stuff in this album that I'm just kind of drawn to, and like, I'm picking out things and going, fuck, I love that. Fuck, I love that. That's really cool. That's really cool. And to me, that makes a pretty great album. So, TV Fish, what about you?
Well, you know what? I had a similar experience to you throughout the week where just this album constantly had things in every song that would just draw me to them. And I'd say, yes, oh, this is the one with that in it. Yeah, I love that. I love hearing certain specific parts over and over. I do want to talk about the title track, though, World War X. The beginning of this track sets such a perfect tone for the entire album. Because it starts with all the guns, gunfire, whatever war sounds.
Yeah.
But then these horns come in with, I think, some strings as well. And man, how thick are these horns? Holy shit. Like, just how deep and just strong, and just you can feel the weight of all the notes these guys are playing, and it just perfectly sets the tone for not only that song, but the entire album.
Yeah.
And just every time it comes on, it just gets me totally amped up to hear to the rest of it. And another thing I noticed, and this is kind of in regards to all the songs, like the whole album, there will be breakdowns. And I'll be listening to a song, okay, yeah, this is nice. And then later on, they break down, but it's even heavier, even more spread out, just even thicker and fatter, and it's just like, holy shit, this is the real breakdown. And that kept happening. I kept finding myself with similar responses to songs that I did at the first impressions, like Hail Hellfire. There were, back when we listened to it for the first time, my jaw was dropped throughout the entire song. Now, while that didn't happen again, I was still kind of double taking, you know, when I'm listening to the song, like, did that really just happen? No way. Like, it still surprised me, even though I kept listening to it for a week, it kept surprising me over and over with how awesome it was. So just, every song has something amazing. Like, No Light Shall Save Us, that song feels so unique. Just because of Alyssa's vocals, even the harsh vocals, like, you can hear the difference, so it's just, it's so unique that way. You know, All Roads Lead to Hell also has that with the guest guitarist, and the riffing in that song is just very black metal-y to me. Like, just the way it kind of goes, you can, like, if there's, okay, well, I think the entire album is a good example of how these guys draw influence from black metal, but if you could pick one song, it might be that one, or the title track, because just the riffing of this one just totally feels black metal to me, and I think not only this album, but this band has just such a perfect fusion of black metal and deathcore together.
Yeah, and if you were to put these guys like on a spectrum and they were like right in the middle of black metal and deathcore before, I think they're kind of inching towards the death metal side a little more now. Even orchestral death metal, if you want to be specific, orchestral black metal to be more specific. Because I'm like I mentioned before, I get a lot of Dimmu Borgir vibes on this album. Like I'm hearing a lot of like Death Cult Armageddon era Dimmu Borgir on here, and that's a good thing in my opinion. It doesn't sound like a direct ripoff, just heavy influence, which I think is fantastic. You know what, you mentioned the vocals on a couple songs. Visions of the End vocals stood out to me, specifically because of the way the vocals were layered. It almost sounds like there's 3 singers, like in certain parts. And I know the guitar player does backup vocals. I don't know if he does backup vocals on the album or if it's just live, but there are certain parts where there's definitely 3 vocals layered, and it sounds like 3 different vocalists. And I'm like, wow, like sometimes this band sounds like a fucking 7-piece. Yeah. Like sometimes it sounds like that. That's how full their sound is. I know the drummer, I think his name's Sean, he does all the keyboard playing on the album stuff. Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
So he does all the keyboards and the percussion, obviously. So they don't have a keyboard player, and they're only a 5-piece, but they sound to me almost like a 7-piece sometimes, which is insane. The fact that they have that much talent amongst them, and they can fill the sound so much, and they have so many great ideas. I mean, it really kind of blew my mind, to be honest.
Yeah, it's really impressive that, like, especially like in regards to the keyboards in track 3, this Infernal Darkness, the piano is so perfect in that song, because the song is already really emotionally charged, like musically, but then the piano comes in and it just hits you like a wave. Yeah. Then it goes away and then it comes back at the end, and it's just, oh my god, it's so good. And it's the only song that has that. No other song has piano like that. It's the only one, and it's just done so well, and it's so unique.
And it's a nice touch.
Absolutely.
Anyway, TV favorites, let's get to ratings.
Well, I think it's pretty obvious for me, but this gets a toe tag, because, oh my god, this album blew my mind last week, and it kept blowing my mind throughout the entire week. This is an incredible album. Just so much content, and it's amazing.
Okay, so for me, I do really, really like this album. My score is not that easy. Because like I said, throughout the week, I was having trouble liking the second half of the album. And I kept thinking, is this a toe tag album? Like, maybe not. If only half of it's great and the other half is like good but okay, then maybe it's not a toe tag album. But then, like I said, I started trying to focus on that second half. It was almost like an Easter egg hunt, where I was trying to find things, and I was finding things. I was finding the Easter eggs. I was finding the chocolate bunnies. I was finding all the little surprises, and I was happy with what I had at the end. So for that reason, this definitely deserves my toe tag. It's a full, well-rounded album, and I think the fact that you do have to sort of pay attention to it and force yourself to get into it is a good thing. It makes you attentive, and it means that you're not going to miss out on some great creative musical writing.
And you can also consider that this is a perfect album for if you want to look for all the depth, because there's so much, but you can also just throw it on and just enjoy it in the background. Like, it works
Very
both
easily.
ways.
I would say, as a last point though, that this album's not the greatest on shuffle. I found that it definitely has a nice flow to it on from beginning to end. When you shuffle it, because of songs like World War X that has the intro and stuff like that, when that's like broken up and put in the middle of the album somewhere, it just breaks up the whole feel. So I wouldn't recommend shuffling it. I mean, do it if you want to. I'm not gonna say don't do it, but it's definitely an album you want to listen to from start to finish. It has the nice contour to it. So
Interesting you say that though, because I enjoyed it on shuffle, like totally fine. Like, I'd shuffle it, and it didn't really ruin anything for me. But
Anyways, guys, I got 2 toe tags from us, so it's gonna get added to the list. We want to know, as usual, what you guys think. Do you guys agree with us? Do you not agree with us? Would you guys have given it a toe tag yourself? Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. I'm Vile Self.
I'm TV
I will
Fish.
see you guys on the next one.